Welcome to the WIHS Journal. On today's broadcast, we will talk to the recycling coordinator here in Middletown, Kim O'Rourke. She'll be giving us great details and tips for recycling. Stay tuned for all the details. She is from Middletown. She is the Middletown recycling coordinator who has been there for over 30 years. So you can tell how passionate she is about recycling. And, you know, we should all be the same way, right, to help our environment. So today we'll be talking about different aspects of recycling and how important it is for our environment and for you as a consumer to save money to do that. But first, Kim, thank you so much for being with us today in the broadcast. We appreciate you coming down.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to have this conversation.
This woman is full of knowledge. All you need to do is ask her a question, and she's like a rocket ship. She just goes. So I know there's a new program here in Middletown, actually. It's called the Orange and Green Save As You Throw program. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Right, sure. So we have been recycling for decades now, as I'm sure everybody knows. But actually, when you talk about trash, we really should be reducing our waste first. Reduce, reuse, recycle, right? So our new program is a waste reduction program, and that is where we're combining two aspects of trash disposal. One, we're adding a system where you actually pay for what you throw away. So in Middletown, in the area where we're doing this, everybody does get a sanitation bill for their trash disposal. And we reduce that bill to remove the disposal cost. So operation management of the district is still included in that bill, but we took out the disposal. It's what we call tip fees, and it's a per ton charge for the amount of trash that's disposed. We took that out of that fee and put it into special bags. So now customers actually have the option to reduce the amount that they pay according to what they dispose. So if they dispose a little bit, they could actually save a little money. Most people probably will break even, and then some people, if they generate more, will pay more. But that's the what we call unit-based pricing system of this program. So it's kind of like electricity. You pay for what you use, and this is trash. You pay for what you dispose. And then the other component of it is co-collection of food scraps, and this is really exciting. It's unique in the U.S. actually. It's used in overseas in Europe and other countries, but not so much in the U.S. And this is where we're adding a component where customers can put their food scraps, their food waste, in a separate bag, a green bag. And that can go right in their trash cart with their trash bags. And then it goes to a facility where it gets sorted. And then the food scraps will, in our area, they go to an anaerobic digester where they get turned into clean energy and compost.
Wow.
So it's much more convenient. And by pulling those food scraps out of the trash, we're reducing waste, which is what we want to do.
Yeah. And if you were just listening, maybe you kind of resonated when you hear about saving money. That should resonate with anybody in this economy today. So thank you so much for being so helpful in explaining that great process. So how does it help the environment by doing that?
People may have read about this in the paper, they may have heard it in the news, but in Connecticut, we have a trash disposal problem. We don't have the capacity in the state to manage the amount of trash that we generate. So especially with the closing of the Hartford Trash to Energy facility, which was a couple summers ago, summer of 2022. So now over 800,000 tons of waste is being shipped out of state.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's a lot of environmental concerns with that, of course. But trash really impacts every aspect of our life. But as we ship it out of state, it goes to someone else's neighborhood. It goes to an area where we don't have environmental regulations or controls over. And plus, there's additional fees. So not only are there environmental concerns, but there are also fiscal concerns. And the cost of trash disposal is going up. And this is a great concern for all communities who are in charge of managing waste. What's the most logical thing for us to do? Reduce our waste.
Yes.
If we can reduce our waste, if we can recycle better. And we have found with this program that people can recycle better when they're incentivized. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Do you know on average, maybe specifically, how much a resident can save by doing this program, Save As You Throw? Do you have statistics on that?
So it totally depends on how much they generate. So when typical family in our sanitation district, which is where we're doing this program, we reduced their fee bill by $118 a year.
Wow.
So, however, they do have to use the city required bags. And the bags are more expensive than a typical, plastic garbage bag you're going to buy from, wherever. They're because they include the cost of disposal in them. So it totally depends on how much you throw away as to how much you're going to pay. Now, we have found many people, and it can be families. It can most certainly be like couples or individuals or people who are concerned about the environment and pay attention to what they throw away and how they recycle. If they produce less than 2 bags of trash a week, then they're saving money. So it really, it varies depending on what you throw away. Actually, over the years, I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, why am I paying the same amount? I only generate a bag every other week. I'm paying the same amount as this family down the street that generates, has an overflowing cart every week. Why are we paying the same? So here, you're not paying the same. It's hard to say exactly how much you can save. It totally depends on what you throw away. And again, you can fall into any of those 3 categories. One where you save money, and you can save, fairly significant amount of money if you try. Or you can break even. If you generate 2 kitchen bags of garbage a week and participate in the food scrap program, you could just save a little bit. Maybe it's like a break even, save like a few dollars a year. But if you generate more than that, then you're going to pay for what you throw away, and you're going to be paying more. Yeah. So it really depends on how hard you try.
Yeah. If you're just tuning into this broadcast, wondering about this conversation, I am talking to Kim O'Rourke. She is the recycling coordinator in Middletown, Connecticut, very passionate about recycling. So we've been talking about this Save As You Throw program. Kim, do you sense that other towns will be implementing this idea?
It's not just in Middletown. There are some communities who have a system like this and have for years. Stonington, Connecticut has they call it a pay-per-bag program for their trash. Mansfield, Connecticut has a form of this system as well. And actually, Portland, Connecticut uses it at their transfer station. So you actually pay by the bag to bring in your material, you bring in your waste. Now, in Connecticut, the state was looking at this, and they determined that this was such a crisis, they wanted to issue grant money. And that's how we're doing this program. We received a grant from the state, a Sustainable Materials Management grant, and 15 other communities received a grant like this. So there's a bunch of us who are working on this. Middletown is probably the furthest ahead. There are other communities looking to develop programs like this as well.
Yes, this is a woman who knows her recycling. This is for sure. So Kim, let's switch gears and talk about the regular recycling, because some people have maybe misconceptions when they see something like maybe a thing they buy of those tomatoes in the grocery store. What is recycling and what is not? What should they be looking for in the back of something they want to recycle?
If you have questions about recycling, I will say the best place in Connecticut to go is recyclect.com. recyclect.com. A lot of communities have the RecycleCT wizard on their websites, but that's like the main website you can go to. You can plug in your item, and it'll tell you whether it's accepted in the recycling or not. But basically, in Connecticut, for recycling, we recycle glass bottles, we recycle metal cans, food and beverage, metal cans. We recycle plastic containers. So this is always a tricky one. We don't recycle plastic film. We don't recycle plastic toys. We don't recycle hoses. We don't recycle plastic wires. It's just plastic containers. No plastic pouches. No plastic bags. Did I say that? I'm going to say it again. No plastic bags in the curbside recycling.
Well, Kim, this is Kim O'Rourke from right here in Middletown. She is the recycling coordinator here in Middletown. Any details that you would like to convey to our listeners before we close the broadcast?
So I guess I want to say I have lots of details in my head, but if anybody has any questions, they can always reach out to me. I work in Middletown Public Works Department, and I'll throw out my number. It's 860-638-4855. I'm happy to answer your questions. It does make a difference. In saying that, though, it's also important that our businesses, our corporations have policies and strategies to reduce their waste, and we need policies at the state level and the federal level, government level, incentivize and help us reduce our waste.
Once again, that was Kim O'Rourke, the recycling coordinator here in Middletown, Connecticut. For more details about today's broadcast, you can give us a call at 860-346-1049. I'm Anissa Porticelli for News and Public Affairs.